Okay, so welcome everyone to Master Your Emotion and Find Your Truth. So my podcast is number 29. So like always at the beginning, I'm telling you briefly about the number. And if any one of you really interested about the numerology, you can go dive in straight away online, or you can find somebody who is going to teach you about the numbers, about the numerology, because that's really crucial to know nowadays, the numerology. We are living in the numbers. So 29. So that's a beautiful number, like always, that's a synchronicity between how can I say between the number, the name sorry, number of the podcast and the message, which one we would like to bring it during the podcast as well. So 29 is a confirmation about divine synchronicity, I would like to say, divine direction connection with the source of the energy. So if you just only saw 29 today, and yes, I saw 29 today as well, because I was thinking it's a 28. And then I said, okay, no, it's a 29. So definitely the Arcanic Angel got the for us, for you, the specific special message, and or maybe something you're going to come over, or maybe something is in front of you, but you don't have to worry too much about it because they are always protecting us and they are always helping us. Yes, so that's a little bit touch about the numbers. But today I'm so excited, I'm so happy. I've got a beautiful, beautiful star seed. Whew. Let me take a nice deep breath. A beautiful starseed, and she's amazing. And thank you for accepting me. Uh, by the way, she's going to probably introduce herself as well, but I can give you a little brief information about her. So, what is she's a starseed and 12 dimension Andromedan, Livan hybrid, who sits in the Andromedan Council. Wow, that's amazing. I was thinking last night who I'm going to speak with. I'm that's so privileged for me. I'm just like saying, is that happening? Is that really happening? I was just okay, maybe I'm dreaming. Definitely we are dreaming the dream. So this word is the dream. But I said, okay, let's go do that. Thank you so much for coming and thank you for accepting the invitation, Mina.
Thank you so much for having me. And yeah, just to comment on that, I mean, it's just a position like left or right. It's no
Yeah,
different.
yeah. Thank you. And would you mind just only say to my audience, the people who are listening us, or maybe not just only my audience, because some of the people will be coming from nowhere and they will be finding this video on the YouTube and could be at BitChute and also at the Unified. And there's much more social media will be posting this. Tell a little bit more about your awakening process, just only briefly, or maybe a little bit, what are you doing? Just only quick just on your introduction.
Yeah, so I was born with all of my incarnation memories intact. So from the moment I was born and growing up, I've had all my memories of past incarnations, which was a little rough as a child to have all these memories. So I
Yes.
always known I was different. I've always had gifts, and growing up knowing this, I was very precocious child, very different. And I have since throughout my life integrated different soul pieces of my higher dimensional selves. I have one last piece still left to integrate to embody my full 15 density being. So right now I've embodied up to my Andromedan lifetime. So I've always known. I've always known.
Oh, you've always known. Can you tell a little bit more? Because some of the people just on hearing that stuff and saying, I already knew when I was born and there was something missing, or I knew that information was
Yeah.
from.
Yeah, so I've actually died 4 times throughout my life, and each time I crossed over, I integrated a soul piece, and I came back with more memories, more lifetimes that I integrated. So I've had lifetimes in Lyria, I've had lifetimes in Andromeda. I was an archangel, I was a Pleiadian, I was speaking Procyon being, I was a Mintakan mermaid, and had a life on Sirius B. So I've incarnated all of those lifetimes with the last one, the last piece. And so that just means I remember all of those lifetimes, not every memory from every lifetime, but memories from each lifetime. And so I also have abilities from each of those lifetimes that incorporated, that I embodied. So yeah.
Wow. I'm just listening. I'm saying, wow, that's
Yeah.
that's yeah, that would be a lot, a lot. And how did you? how did you remember your childhood? I mean, in this life on the planet Earth, because like you just only mentioned, that was a little bit difficult and that was like a little bit strange to living around the different children and with different memory, and they forgotten who they truly are.
Right. So my whole family has gifts. We all have gifts in my family, and my mother is also hybrid. Essentially, as a child, I was very advanced for my age. So I was already walking and crawling on type of things for 9 months old. I potty trained myself. I was like climbing on top of the roof. I was speaking complete sentences. So it was definitely an interesting childhood. And I remember all of these lifetimes, and I would just constantly dream about them, and I would see things, and I would talk to my mom about things there's no way a child could know. No, there's no way a child could understand concepts, and I was speaking about them. So we figured there was something a little different about
Yeah.
me.
Would you mind
So
just only share a little bit about these concepts? Which one you would like to share with the audience? Maybe some of the people just when you're listening, or the mother or father has got the children, and they are talking to them
mhm.
about this, for them the strange information. They say, "Oh, they're crazy," in the which way I'm just talking about.
So one of the first memories I had that I spoke about when I was 2, 3, and 4 was I was a Mintakan mermaid, that I was a spy working for a royal court with underground submarines,
Oh,
deep sea submarines. And so, yeah, I was telling my mom about this, and you know, not really something a 2-year-old or 3-year-old should be knowing about. So definitely a little bit strange. And then I would also talk about, coming from space, and not being that my mom wasn't my mom. Come to find out, actually, she was my daughter in a previous life. But
oh
so
yeah.
yeah,
Oh,
so I can also remember things now as a baby, and I would tell my mom and describe things that there's no way I could have known, but I knew because I had that recall ability. So
oh,
yeah, that's some examples. And then the amazing gifts I had, I exhibited. I mean, at under a year old, I told my mom, she was putting dresses on me, and she said, she tried this dress on me, and I looked in the mirror, and I looked at her and said, I wouldn't be caught dead in this. And she goes, like, oh, okay. And I wasn't even a year old. So she was like, I'm gonna have my hands full.
yeah. Wow. Yeah, because that's why I would like to ask you this, because I've got that experience with my children, and my daughter now, she's 13 years old, but when she was small, she was always telling to me, "You're not my mom, you're not my mother." I said, "I'm really your mother. Why are you saying like that?" But anyway, I was just only slowly, slowly diving in, and I slowly started awakening process for myself. And then I said, okay, I'm allowing her to speak like that. It's okay. It's fine. Maybe she's remembered different past lives. It's okay. It's totally fine. But my another daughter, she was talking to the invisible, invisible beings, and I was really good with that. I was just only asking, "What did you see? And how is that? What's the name?" And even now, she's really old. She's really old. She's a teenager, and she's still talking. I said, "Fantastic! Keep carry on and just do that." So that's why I would like to ask you, because some of them nowadays, and people just only saying this stuff completely different way, but they're supposed to a little bit away, a little bit go putting away that illusion.
Yeah, yeah, and I think also when children exhibit the gifts, like I have telepathy. My mom also, but when you start telling adults things that there's no way that you can know, but you do know them, and I also had Michael was always with me, Archangel Michael. It's who I was named after,
Hmm.
and so I would always, of course, be talking to them, and yeah. So I think it's just I think it was a little different though for my household because, like I said, my family also had gifts. So it wasn't a surprise that I was a little different, but I was definitely, even for my family, I was a little bit of a black sheep. So
Yeah. So how is mom? Can you remember your mom reaction when you start talking and she was like, "Oh, what are you talking about?" or something like that?
well, I think her reaction was just kind of like, kind of like how moms kind of brush off what kids say, like, oh, yeah, that's nice, not really taking too much stock. But I think, of course, as I got older, she realized that there was definitely something, different. about me. And now that she has fully awakened and stepped into her own gifts, and she's been on the meditations with us.
Yeah, I
So
saw her. Yeah, I saw her. Yeah, she was like, I started talking. I said, who is it? I was like, I said, and then you introduced her. Yeah, yeah.
she only recently started coming into her gifts, but now that she has, and she started to get memories back, and now we know why our relationship dynamic was the way it was, is because in previous incarnation I was her mother. And so I always had this dynamic of mothering her, because that was our dynamic previous incarnations. So, now it's interesting. Our relationship is so much better because we have a deeper understanding of the why.
Yeah, now you reminded me my daughter. Now you reminded me my daughter. I was like, okay. I was sensing, no, a long time ago, I was sensing I was her daughter and she was my mother, and now I'm her mother and she's my daughter. But the dynamic between me and her is completely, yeah, that's kind of a little bit of past memory is arising between us, and anyway, etc. But would you
Yeah.
mind just only say a little bit more about how the angels appearing in front, close to you, and how you can hear them, and yeah, how you can see that?
So my most recent incarnation, the carnation before this incarnation, I was an archangel. And so I worked with the Lumerians, that after the flood had happened. I still have dreams about the trauma from the flood and all the babies that were drowning. And I was there to help lead the Lumerians that survived into Telos, into the inner earth. And so I remember that. But ever since I was little, Michael would be next to me, and I would dream about him, and he would bestow upon me this energetic field that I carry with me to this day. And he it was like a protection. So it protected me from all interdimensional beings.
Yeah.
And ever since then, it was like an energetic wall that protected me. So anytime, sometimes I embodied that around entities. If there is somebody that has an entity attached, it will bring out the archangel in me, and I will do it unknowingly. I will not know I'm doing it unless friends tell me about it. But I take a certain stance, my whole demeanor changes. I have like a shield, in the way that I stand in front of them kind of takes like this defensive position.
Oh,
And it's just it's so strange to describe, because in the moment it feels like I'm full of like righteous I don't know how to explain it, like a righteous, not anger, but just I don't know how to explain it. It's like righteousness. And
okay.
so the entities and somebody who has the entity attached to them cannot be in my presence. They feel very intimidated and they must leave. And so they stop trying to attack me, and they cannot be around me. So it's very interesting. And that was something I always had as a child. I had a very bright light. And that sometimes draws very dark things to it. So yeah, it's I would just say that for children that have this kind of bright light that you notice in your children, to always make sure to protect them.
Yeah, that's I'm drawing every morning, every evening. Just constantly when they're going outside. I'm constantly working. I'm just 48 hours. Like I just need, okay, let's go draw this. Let's go draw. Let's go visualize that. Oh my goodness, that the energy work is a constantly never ending, never ending. So yeah, as a mother, well, it's completely, yeah. I've got the eyes everywhere,
Yeah. Yeah, you
everywhere.
really have to, because that's, the brighter the light, the more it attracts the things to it. So that are seeking, which they don't have. They don't have the light, so they seek it.
Yeah, that's yeah, that's a lot of, yeah, that what you said, that the most of the children they are so attacked. The most of the children they are really, really fragile. And yeah, that's definitely. I just only read a little bit more about you, and also if you don't mind, we can go maybe not straight away, but we are going to talk about this cancer you are working for. I mean, the cancer, Andromedan cancer. Can you tell a little bit more for us about it?
Yes. So Andromeda was actually my first incarnation. So when I fractaled from Source, I was Andromedan. So it was the last life for me to remember, I should say. And then basically, since about 5 years now, I've been sitting the council. I
Mm-hmm.
found myself in a place with other beings, and I kind of was like, what am I doing here? It was kind of one of those times where I wasn't sure if I was viewing or if it was me. And then I realized when they were talking to me, I was like, oh, you're talking to me. And then I was like, all of a sudden I got, source was like, yeah, this is you. You are here. And then I realized we're talking about major issues. And that's how it started. And then it started, becoming more seeping from the subconscious to the consciousness. And I started having more and more memories. And then I knew what I was supposed to be making decisions about. And I knew what the issues were. And then I made the decisions. And then I knew suddenly when we were meeting, I get called in. So it's really strange for them. My whole left eye goes blank. I cannot see physically. I cannot see out of my left eye. It goes like blurry. It's seeing the 5D, like it's out in the astral realm. And so that is like my clue that something is happening. And then I don't need to meditate now. I can just go into astral travel. And then I take care of whatever issue is happening. And it's always something major. I don't make small decisions. They'll go to other people for that. But if it's something big, like a catastrophic or emergency or something, that's when I have to step in and do things and do missions. And it will come at all hours of the day. It doesn't matter if I'm driving. It doesn't matter if I'm working. It doesn't matter if I'm asleep. It will happen anytime. And then I have to go do that work. So that's what I do for the council. But there's other missions I do for my other, embodiments. So
how they are appearing in front of you? How you can recognize you have to go and do your mission?
Well, the thing happens with my eye. Obviously, if I'm sleeping, then it's astral. I know what I'm doing because I always remember my dreams. Unless sometimes I ask not to remember because I don't want to divert focus from my 3D life to that. So we have agreements if it's too major, something that could carry over into the 3D, bleed over into 3D. I don't want to remember it. So that's our agreement. But I know because my eye, it tells me, body parts tell me, and each being has a different part. So when it's the angels that need my assistance, my wings flutter. I feel my shoulder blades start to tingle, and that's how I know. So each being has a different thing.
Oh, which is great. Yeah, so because so many people just only asking how the angels are appearing in front of you. How you know that angel is talking to you?
Oh yeah. And if I ignore it, it gets worse. It gets bad. Like I'll start getting cramps or, weird things will happen. I'll get red welts or they're like, no, you have to, this is urgent.
Oh,
so.
well. And also there was another thing like you just only said you just only written a little bit more about yourself, about the working with actually anyway, I'm going to give you a different question. Who is the emerald?
Oh, the Emerald Order?
Yeah, that's right. I would like to know, and my audience, you would like to know a little bit more about it.
Yeah, so the central race of the Emerald Order is the first high council of, ETs. We're talking about the very beginning of the Omniverse. So the beginning of all time. And even my mom has these memories. We remember the beginning of this universe and we remember the creation. And so I always see it as this large room that emanates like a pearl iridescent light. And in it is this giant, it's very hard to describe, but it's a giant like ball of light. And it sits in the center of this room. And then around it are pillars. And on top of each pillar is these emerald balls. Okay. And this is the room of the Emerald Order. And so I was told in 2017 by my 15th dimensional self that I would be receiving my emerald soon. And actually my emerald was bestowed upon by somebody that I know now. And so it's been very interesting because they told me it would happen back in 2017 and then it happened just last year. So.
Okay.
So essentially they're responsible for overseeing all the council. It's the beginning. It's the very high council.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. And you're working for it and you're going they order to every mission.
Yeah, I do a lot of missions for them. They're definitely their missions supersede all others, but those missions are not as frequent as a lot of the other ones. So they kind of do the overseeing of the omniverse, and so they're responsible on a much grander scale. And those I tend not to remember because they're of a higher security, we'll say.
Okay. Yeah.
So I tend not to remember those.
So are they sending you in every different planet, not just only the planet Earth?
Oh yeah, I go in the multiverse, so I
So
don't just go
everyone.
everywhere in the omniverse. It's so those are my favorite because the worlds are so different, and even like multiple Earths. Sometimes it'll be something small and you don't really notice the difference, and sometimes it's really major difference, and you're like, this is so different than our Earth. It's so cool.
Wow. So how did you feel after that? I mean, in your physical body, when you're coming back to your body, to the three-dimensional body here on the planet Earth, how you feel it? I mean, do you have any memory from that mission? Or yeah?
Oh yeah, I remember all the details. Like I said, unless it's a security thing, I don't remember those. But for the other ones, I remember very vividly all the memories. So I have every detail. I can tell you numbers. I can tell you words. I that there's no nothing. You know how they say you're not supposed to be able to dream in numbers and words. That's not true. You can, and
Is
especially
any
when astro traveling.
okay? Is anything you can share with us, or everything is like a kind of the secret, so you couldn't share anything?
I can share some things. Let's say which one I want to share
I
with
know,
you.
I'm so curious. I'm just curious. Yes, why not?
So I'll do sometimes diplomatic missions. I had one where I went to this one planet, and it was a very lush green, like think maybe Ireland esque, with a very kind of rolling hills and lots of flatlands, but also the rigid rocks and everything. And there
Uh-huh.
were these beings that were rock beings. They were like the Easter egg island heads, but they didn't look like that, but they were big stone
Mm-hmm.
people. And their leader or their king, who actually could take human form. And so I had to go to this mission because they were having some kind of dispute with these other races, and they needed some assistance. And then come to find out, actually, his reason for getting me over there was because he wanted to propose and he wanted to suggest a union. And I was like, okay, so I had to handle in a very diplomatic manner and say, I'm here to assist you with your dispute. This is not about, us. And I had to very diplomatically turn him down. But it was very interesting. The whole
Okay.
planet was super interesting. The gravity and stuff, I would say, was slightly similar, but not because the rocks had to be able to move. So it was a little less dense there. And that was a
Wow.
very interesting one for sure. One of my stranger ones.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, so for the yeah, that's a lots of memory and a lot of experience you've got. So now you see the difference between the different planets and the universe. I mean, actually, I would like to say planet Earth. So
Yeah.
here, what we are living and what we're experiencing, and compare to others, how you can see that?
So yeah, so you mean like how can I distinguish the differences?
Yeah, if you can.
Yeah, yeah. So one version of Earth that I went to was very interesting. Do you know much about American culture and life here, like the South and the North, and like the
Not
differences?
not really. I know what they have been fighting the South and North, and they've been fighting a little bit, and not really about yeah, not really about it. I'm not really
Okay.
familiar.
What about the political system? Do you know anything about that?
To be honest, I'm not happy with the political system. I don't like the
Any,
democracy, and
any
that's if you're going
political
to ask me about the political stuff, I would like to say thank you so much. Take this, put it away. I'm just going.
No, no, well, that was going to show to illustrate the differences. So one of the differences on this version of Earth was the system was reversed. Everything was
Upside
reversed.
down. Yeah.
So it was like, where, they have racial disparity here. It was different. It there wasn't there. So no racial disparity at all.
Hmm.
But there was differences between the North and the South. And so what was so interesting is in this role, I came as an embodiment of a person doing a documentary. And so I was doing a documentary about the different social and differences. So I had a crew with me, and then we were interviewing these different people, and they were like what we call in the United States rednecks, because
Mm.
they people from the South who like to hunt and stuff, and they are usually they lean towards like the right side of their political leanings. But in this world, they still like to hunt, but it was opposite. There was no racial, so they would go hunting, and their animals were different. They had like little deer creature beings that they were hunting. It was super strange.
Yeah.
Their whole way of lifestyle was just totally different. And so I did this documentary about it and asked them about their political system, asked them about their societal system. And that was my mission, was to find out all of these differences. And so it was super, super fascinating for me to have, of course, I remember all of the details. And, this happened in the astral realm during my sleeping time. And so I woke up thinking, wow, it's so strange. It was so cool to me because I loved asking all the questions and getting the answers, it was very neat. So
Yeah.
that's a parallel arc for sure.
Yeah, but anyway, I would like how I'm saying the universe is coming to my mouth all the time. But anyway, the earth is like upside down, so everything is reversed. So I know that's we have to take them. Uh, mm, oh, sorry, I forgot the word. But anyway, let's go, keep carry on. Can you tell us a little bit more about the light language? Did you learn this light language, or that came straight away from downloads from the source, or
So I've always had a proclivity for languages. I grew up in a trilingual household, and my mother then made us learn American Sign Language. So languages for me have always been very much in tune, and I can listen. It's one of my gifts. I can listen to languages that I don't know and understand them. And so I think that that's what enabled me to get in touch with the light language so easily, is
yeah,
because, I'm a creative person on top of that. But when I would feel this energy come in, and if I didn't release it somehow, it would build up and I would start to feel physical effects. And I needed to release it, to transmute it. And then I just opened my mouth and out came, light language. And then I realized very quickly, because of my ability to understand different human languages, I can also channel different light languages. And it's been so cool to see all the different ones that have come out. And yeah, it's been amazing. I love it. It's a very beautiful thing, and it's so pure. It's just straight from the heart. So yeah,
yeah.
I've had it now for a long time. So my light language, I've been speaking now since half my life. So since about 2000 and 2000 now.
How about your mom? Did she when she heard you first time you speaking the light language, and what did she say about it?
I don't think she really thought any way about it. I mean, she now does light language herself, but I think at first she was a little like, that's weird. And that first like human reaction. But the more that I exposed her to it, and the more it triggered something in her, and it's like a jogging of a memory, because it speaks to your highest self. So
Yeah.
even if your consciousness won't accept what it's seeing and hearing, your super consciousness and your higher self do understand, and it does resonate, and it will speak, and then it will translate to your consciousness eventually.
So how you know what are you speaking about? How you know, because when you're making the sounds coming out from you, how you know what kind of I would like to say in the human language you are talking about? Let's go say like that for the people who are listening to us.
So the messages come direct download, so straight from my higher self. So how it appears in my head first is like images, and it translates out to the light language. But I know intuitively what it's about because it's coming from my higher self. But it's not like they're in my head saying, say this in English. You know what I mean? It's very much a very quick download of images. And sometimes it's so quick that I don't even think about it anymore. It's just coming straight.
It's just when you go in, yeah,
Straight out. But when I hear it, I know, and I know intuitively what I'm saying and talking about. What's really interesting is some of my followers who are listening to my light language can actually translate in a blurb. I have a couple where they've translated in comments exactly what I was saying. And it's been so fascinating. It's so cool. So cool.
amazing.
Yeah. So I think it's just something you intuitively, at least for myself. I can't speak for others, but
Yeah. Should we say that was a telepathy? Because when your viewers, just when you said hear that your language, and yeah,
oh
I'm
yeah, I
rather
mean,
understood.
something to do with telepathy, clairvoyance.
Yeah.
I mean, sure it all comes into play, right? Those are all tools that we use to navigate, right? So
Yeah.
I'm sure it has something to do. And also those languages, you know, a lot of the beings that I have been, not very many spoke languages, but some did. And so I have to, at some point, have some kind of memory, you know, of that. So because I've integrated those pieces, I have to know, like, you know, somewhere I know what I'm saying.
Okay. And how you can communicate with them? It's through the telepathy, through the
Yeah, so some of it's telepathy. I just visually see them. So I also do the visualization, but also the telepathy as well as the inner knowingness. So
Mhm.
I do all of those. So sometimes I just see them and talk to them, and other times they're very straightforward with their answers, and sometimes it's images, and sometimes it's the intuitive knowingness.
Did
So
you make any friends over there?
um,
Sorry, I'm just talking
it's
about like a human.
oh, human friends?
No, 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 I mean that did you make any friends when you're going through the mission, or maybe you've been sent so many times or several times to the same
Yeah.
place?
So beings, what's interesting is some of the beings that I met in the astral realm, I've now met in the 3D. So I knew Ishmael, I knew Natalie from Divine Transmissions, I knew Altia, I know Alkura. I know their energy from the astral realm. We've done missions, we've worked together, and
Mm.
also many lives together, which is interesting too. So now is the time for remembrance. Now is the time that we're connecting to our soul tribe. So yes, to answer your question, I have many friends that I've met here in the 3D, and also some, but I'm not like others. I know others have like a team of guides. Mine are all higher dimensional versions of myself. So they're different beings, but they're higher dimensional versions of myself. So it's a little different. Oh, with the exception of Gabriel. Gabriel, I've talked to and met. So
Mm. Wow, that's amazing. So that's how I was. Well, yeah, that my another question was about how did you met Ishmael, and now anyway, you just only unraveled very beautifully. So now I know because when you connected, and then you can connect in the 3D as well. Yeah, that's amazing.
yeah,
Wow, that's amazing, beautifully. Thank you for sharing those information. That's really crucial and really, really, that's so valuable for the people who are listening us because probably we can talk and talk more about the other planet and other beings. That's like a infinite number. And
that's a book.
yeah, that's so many books. Anyway, uh, can we go a little bit much more deeper, I would like to say, and can we just only step a little bit lower? I mean, lower come back on the planet Earth. Okay, let's go stay for a second because we've got the mission here. We are the starseeds. We've chosen this life here, and to us to helping others to leading the ascension process and increasing the vibration. So, what can you get in the collectively? So, is any kind of the messages you are just only grasping, or just only do we need to work on it now at the moment?
So lately, I've been getting a lot of very strong messages from the collective, a lot of strong telepathic messages that since our last meditation and we awakening the Kundalini energy and that's traveling up, you know, when you embody that, all of the shadows, all of the healings need to take place. And the biggest one I've been seeing is healing the divine feminine. And the divine feminine must be healed first. And it's not just the collective, but also Mother Gaia must be healed first so that the divine masculine can take center stage and embody. And until we do that, it's never going to step forward. So we must heal the divine feminine. So that's been a huge message that's been coming to me, and not just me, but others. But it's been surfacing through my followers, surfacing through personal relationships, and definitely a lot from the collective telepathy. So
Okay, wow. Yeah, because we are sensing now at the moment when we're going everywhere, you can sense, you can feel it, but sometimes we don't want to feel it. We just only ignore it. We're trying to ignore so many stuff, so many feelings inside us. I'm just only suppressing to say, okay, later on, maybe you can go run or do lots of different distraction, instead of just only sit down and just only focus what we've been called to do. Uh, how you can help or how you can see the divine feminine energy through the collective, how we can recognize if something is not really uh, working very well and we need to do something with that.
So we are designed to be more of a matriarchal system. The divine feminine is the nurturer of the collective. She truly nurtures the collective, where the divine masculine nurtures and protects his family unit, his collective. And so that enables the divine feminine to nurture the collective as a whole. She is built to love and think from a place of mothering for the collective, but also to keep a level head and keep emotions in check on a much bigger picture. And when the divine feminine, if the roles are reversed, the divine feminine is focused only on the family unit, then that gets a little skewed. And that's where you get the overprotectiveness, the overbearing, and that lack of control and that subservience and that, unbalance of the divine feminine and divine masculine, because every divine feminine has a core masculine that,
Yeah.
is at the center, and every divine masculine has a core feminine. So it's about finding that yin and yang balance there. So to recognize it, when a woman is in her divine feminine, she is caring for the collective as a whole, doing work for the whole, and still maintaining that balance of, allowing herself to be cared for, but also to be in her leadership role, with the collective, but still allow herself to be cared for. So that's where that balance comes in.
Yeah, we need to, because when you're going to ask the men, you need to heal your feminine energy, and they say, no, I don't have any feminine energy. But I know we are talking about really, really not truly awake men, because if the man is awake fully to their power, definitely they will be sensing and they will be feeling that balance. I mean, the energy, feminine and masculine energy together. So what we are talking, I would like to tell everyone, we are not talking about just only feminine energy, about just only the woman. We are talking men and women in the 3D dimension world. So we've got the feminine and masculine, and the men got the feminine and masculine energy. So I would like to clear it up. So
yes, and the divine masculine will not recognize it, it cannot come forward, because the divine feminine has to show the masculine how to recognize the divine feminine and how to recognize the feminine in themselves as well. We have to, show the way so that they can see how we want to be treated, see what we need, because the man always acts from a place of, if you think in a very simplistic way, how can I get a mate? What can I do to attract the opposite sex? Well, they do things that they think we want because of what society has told them. We have to show them what we need from them, so that they can step up and provide. And then we nurture that in them, and we nurture that balance in them. And that's how both coexist in this beautiful symbiotic relationship.
yeah, that's true. That's completely true. But how we can see, because a lot of people now at the moment at the planet Earth is only arguing, and they've got a lot of, my goodness, low vibration energy inside them. So that's all the wounds and all that triggering. And even if that's really, really not there, maybe they inherit from the ancestors lineage. I mean, the 3 dimension world we are talking about, because 5 dimension world doesn't have a lineage. So definitely, so how we can help them to navigate this world? Do you have any
Yeah.
specific tools?
So I'll tie it into some research that's been done. This is the 3D scientific research that's been done by Harvard. Women, so we know now that women, when they carry a male fetus, absorb the DNA and it changes their DNA in their brain every time they carry a male fetus. That's one thing. The other thing we discovered, we already knew, is that a men's semen is absorbed into the women and changes their DNA as well. So if it changes our DNA, we're literally talking about generations of women that have had their DNA changed. And as the men, become what society puts them as, they in turn change us. So it has to start with a woman healing those traumas. And if you're carrying traumas and you know what you're carrying as a woman, there are things you need to address. If there's a place in you that is triggering you, if you feel unhappy, if you're struggling with relationships, if you're struggling as a parent, if you're struggling in interacting with men, period, or children, that is a sign that you have traumas and healing you need to do. So if you can recognize that, then you know that there's work to be done, which I can tell you there's work to be done. We've all got work that needs doing. So that's, I think, where the focus is. So that's how you can recognize. So before making it a place of us against them, it's not that. It's us against us. It's
Yeah.
really, we have to reach inward and heal those wounds. Once we heal that, we will spread that energy and radiate that energy, and the man will see the difference. And that's how we instigate change in the man.
Yeah, but something came to me because you've been talking about, yeah, are you talking about the man and physicality, the physical human is standing? Okay, so something just came to my head, like just only the woman got the feminine and masculine energy. So that masculine energy took over her, and so that's the feminine energy doesn't want to rise up, so doesn't want to go up. So that's
Yeah.
why the feminine energy needs to soften that masculine energy and put that sword down and saying, you are safe, you are protected, so go away, or something like, yeah, that's something came to me. So if somebody is watching us, so from my point of view, you don't have to, of course it is that we need to show the physical, we need to show the man, like a man, like a physical form, uh, where we are, what we want, and etc., what we need, maybe not what we want, what we need, but also we need to heal ourselves, heal our masculine energy first inside us. Just only go away. I've been that place. I was just only putting a lot of shit around me. I said, no, I'm really strong. I'm just only walking. But
Right.
now
It
I'm just
became
only,
inverted, right? The divine masculine or the divine feminine became inverted,
yeah,
more core masculine and then less divine feminine. And so that's what happened in society. And so because it was a product, yes, of our environment and societal, but now we know the issue. So
yeah,
now we have a place, we come from a place of knowing where we can correct it and address it. So that's
yeah,
the important, is recognizing that there's an imbalance.
that's true. And also we inherit that from Mother Gaia, from Mother Earth, because everything, all the wounds, all the
Divine
story
feminine,
is,
purest divine feminine.
yeah, it's always there. It's like a, wow,
Yeah.
that's a lot of blessings sent you to her because she's carried all the stuff, all the battles, all the blood everywhere. That was like crazy stuff. Yeah.
Exactly. So she carries the memory far longer than ours of every travesty that's ever happened on her. And she carries those wounds. And so we are healing Mother Gaia as well. And during the meditations, that's what we're focusing on. There's so much coming up. And how the star seeds feel that is they start getting memories and downloads of times past. And so that lets us know that those are coming to the surface so that we can transmute it, so that we can integrate it, so that we can heal it. And once we do that, integrate those, those issues, those problems, and then it becomes a position of power and strength, because now those weaknesses have now become, our
Yeah.
strength. So
So what we're going to heal ourselves individually, then we're going to heal ourselves in the collective because we are connected. So how we can heal ourselves, because we are talking about the healing, we know we can meditate on it, but is it different or the best tools we can do?
Um, so we actually, a team of us, like I said, because it's been presenting itself to everybody, we
Yeah.
actually going to do a workshop and a retreat for women and men as well will come later. But it'll be a 3-day retreat online, and we'll structure it so it'll be different weekends. And we're going to have workshops in it with ancient women's circles. We're going to have discussions. We're going to have light language healing. We're going to be focusing solely on the balance of the divine feminine and the core masculine. And so these are things that you can do if you need guidance, if you need somebody to help you, show you how to heal these things, because it's a complicated process. You're talking generation, bloodline, years and years and years of these traumas, and it's a lot for one person. But as a collective, together, we can heal each other. And so that is the plan. So individually, yes, there are things you can do, but it's a lot for one person. It's a lot. That's why that's why this community was created, so that we could help each other. So that's what's in the works right now. So as far as what you can do by yourself, like I said, I think it's just recognizing, identifying where you need healing within your own personal life. What is it that's triggering you? Why is it triggering you? If you can identify just that, that's already a big bonus. So
Yes, I would like to say just on your willingness, just on your willing to heal myself, that 80% I would like to every time I'm saying it's your job, it's the work you're done. The only
Yeah.
thing, yeah, the rest you need to follow. That's an amazing job you're going to do here. That's like having the workshop. So how do people know they've got a trigger point inside them? Is any
So a trigger, well, what is a trigger? A trigger is when something creates
yeah,
a knee-jerk reaction in you and you want to, like it makes you defensive, it makes you hurt, it makes you have this kind of I don't know, deep feeling of, like someone's against me, this deep feeling like you need to protect yourself. That is a trigger. So if something triggers you, first identify what exactly was it triggering. Is it something somebody said? Is it something somebody did? Is it just a feeling, a mood swing? Identify what it is and then try to get to the root cause. Like, why do you feel this way? What is making you angry? What is making you sad? What is making you upset? And when you can identify the root cause, then you can start to identify what needs to be healed.
it's all of the star seeds got a wound and all of the star seeds got a trigger point.
What we're feeling, well, yes, of course, there's individual, I think, things. I wouldn't speak for everyone, but I would say that a lot do. I mean, I think even I might still have something lingering. Every once in a while I get a little tingle like, okay, that could bother me,
Mm.
and kind of might be something, but mostly for, I think, starseeds who are empaths and telepathic, we pick it up from the collective. So when you have a feeling that is not your own, when you feel suddenly angry and you don't know why, like, why are you angry? You have no reason to be. Why are you upset? You have no reason to be. Then that's not your emotion. It's not coming from your field. So that means it's probably coming from the collective. You might be an empath. You might be picking up on others' emotions. And if you're doing that, then you're probably a star seed and you're probably a transmuter. Your job is to be a filter for the collective. You are literally picking up these negative, lower vibrational emotions, which, what is an emotion? It's just energy plus motion. Energy that you move in a certain motion. And there's higher vibrational emotions and lower vibrational emotions. And if you're picking it up for the collective, then your job is to filter it, to take that energy, transmute it into a lighter, higher vibrational energy, and put it back. Let it go. It's not yours. So that's what a transmuter does. And if you are an empath, you are a transmuter. So
I know. I know a little bit something about it. But definitely, but sometimes the people are saying, I'm good enough. Like I just only posted a few days ago the video about not giving up because a lot of stars nowadays, they've got enough. They've got it completely enough. They're really afraid. They are just only running away. They would like to hide themselves. And they just say, no, that word is completely gone. So it's no hope and something like that. What we can help, what we can tell them, or just only give them just tiny, tiny little bit sparkle of the light.
so if you're feeling those emotions, that's a good sign. And I'm going to tell you why. Because those feelings are no longer being buried, they're coming to the surface. And when they're at the surface, that means they can be released easily. They're right there. I mean, think of it. I hate using this analogy, but it's like a pimple. It's coming to the surface and it comes, and then it can heal. It's the same thing. If you're having those emotions, those really like, passionate and vibrant emotions, and you're feeling that overwhelming feeling, it's because one, make sure, is it yours? Two, if it's coming from the collective, then it needs to release. If it's coming from you, it still needs to be released. So release it. Don't suppress it. Release it, feel it, but don't attach to it. And know that you've done half the work. It's already there. It's right at the surface. Don't bury it down again. Let it out. And then you'll see, once you release that energy, you'll feel better. You'll feel better. The moment will have passed. And today is a new day and full of bright possibilities. So that's what I would say.
Yeah, so I hope so. The specific people just only hearing that specific stars is hearing us and hearing you what you're talking about me now. Because yeah, that was for me. I was saying, what are they talking about? Why they came here? They need to remember that. I was like that kind of in the human emotion. Like I said, oh, if I would like to be close to them, I would took them and I would be shook them and say, just get up and just only wake up. That call. that's amazing. But the divine feminine energy, that's the beautiful planet Earth, and oh my goodness, the beautiful healing energy, because that's why we came here for it. That's why we came here, awake much more souls and awake much more starseeds, yeah, to raise up this frequency. What I would like to just only ask about that divine feminine energy, because a lot of people just only saying that the divine feminine energy is really destructive energy. Is What is your view about it? Is it really destructive energy, or this is the reason for it?
So they're saying the divine feminine is the destructive. There is
Yeah,
toxic femininity for sure. There's toxic masculinity, there's toxic femininity. It exists on both sides. The divine is finding that balance. And so whether it's divine masculine or divine feminine,
yeah,
that's the balance. So I would say, yes, there's toxic masculinity and toxic femininity. That's the extremes. So those do exist, but the point is they're finding the balance between the two on both sides. And that is where the symbiotic relationship, just like yin and yang, you have the black with the white
yeah.
in the center and the white with the black. So it's finding that perfect balance. And so, yeah, there is, like I said, toxic femininity, toxic masculinity on both. And that's where you get too much masculine in the divine feminine and too much feminine in the divine masculine.
Yeah, so that's how we can see a lot of men looking like a woman and a lot of women looking like a man. I'm not saying that's wrong. I'm not
Yeah.
saying I never just only putting that label on it, but we just only been lost. It's like a really in the masculinity, what the man supposed to do, like you just only mentioned at the beginning, provider, and the woman energy is a receiver. And also yes, working together, that's bringing the beautiful five-dimensional world. But yeah, we know that we've been conditioned, and that's what a generation and generation and generation. We can talk more, but it's not. It's not. I don't want to talk about this more
Yes.
because that's really we've got the evidence for that. But I would like to bring the solution for that. That's my way. Bring the
Yeah.
truth and bring the mastering our emotions, which is about, of course, that's the triggering points, that's the tornado, that's the turbulence inside us. So can you give us just only maybe five or maybe four? I don't know how many you've got in your spiritual pocket or in your psychic or starseed pocket tools, how we can navigate this divine feminine energy to heal.
Okay. Yeah. So one of the tools that you can use is, first when your inner trauma or inner child healing. So if you think about a traumatic event in your life and you go back to that time and you visualize that moment, visualize what you looked like in that moment and visualize yourself there. And then go to your inner child, to that person in that exact moment, the top pinnacle point where it hurt the most. And I want you to just wrap yourself around yourself and give yourself the biggest hug and tell yourself that you love you accept and you accept yourself for all of that and that it's okay. That's one tool you can do because inner child healing is so important. Another thing you can do to heal those kind of inner wounds is to take yourself to the things that you were most passionate about when you were younger and just pick one thing and do it again. Just do it again and do it for fun. Doesn't matter how ridiculous it seems, just do it and embody that and just feel those, happy emotions. Maybe it's something you never got to do as a child, you always wished you had, and do that. And all of these things can begin to heal because we have to go backwards in time and start from the beginning to heal. And then we move forward into the more current things. So you can heal the stuff that just happened, but to be honest, that's not the roots. You want to go all the way back. And so you
Yeah.
can use those two techniques. If we talk about a third, I am a firm believer in writing things down. You can even make like a ritual of it, write down whatever horrible event, and you can, cleanse yourself with sage if you want, and you can burn this visual representation of this memory and
Mm-hmm.
way. It's something you can do. I think the point is do what you need to do to close and integrate that pain. And how you do that is by visually seeing it happen and then doing it. You can even take and visualize a cord that connects you to that memory, and taking scissors and cutting it. So you can do that as well. So those are just some tools, but definitely want to start with the inner child, I believe.
Oh, yes. Yeah, definitely the inner child. My favorite one. Oh my God, my favorite one. So when we're going to do that, so how we can see our divine feminine energy? How is that? How is she? I would like to label it a little bit. How is she appearing in front of us?
So the divine feminine will not be triggered. The divine feminine will come from a place of, listening, of understanding, of an acknowledgement, of acceptance. And she will not come from a place of trigger, a place of lack. Never from that. It's more of a place of abundance, a place of love, always with love. So whenever an action leads with love, that is embodying that divine feminine. So that's how you can recognize that part of yourself.
That's beautifully. Um, something came to mind. I love dresses. I love the butterflies. That's my way of the living. So that's how I recognize that's a really freely, smoothly, and flowing and creative. That's for me. Like, oh, it's flying. So I'm the inner child. Let's go. Let's go. Then you'll be much more happy.
Yeah, and water is super grounding. But it also flows, and it changes things, and
Yes.
it flows, and it also gives. So that's kind of the divine feminine, that ebb and flow, that give, that push and pull, and that balance between the two, and also staying grounded. Because we embody our emotions, and we want women to embody their emotions. Women are emotional creatures. It's that extreme that is not the divine. It's that balance.
Yeah. Yeah. I was just only a few seconds ago when you said the grounding, I just only had the grounding and you said the grounding. That's grounding. That's amazing. That's often now it's coming very often, it's happening during my podcast. So I'm so happy. I don't have to talk too much because the guest is talking much more about what I'm sending to them telepathically. That's amazing. Yeah, that's grounding. You can use for example, I can add the drums. I love the shamanic work. So the drums and just only because the heartbeat and the embody yourself there, that would be amazing. How we can see the masculine energy inside us, because like you said, the feminine and masculine energy is inside us, but we just only feel that a feminine energy. So what is the masculine energy is going to do that then?
So the divine masculine, holds space for the divine feminine. So
Okay.
holds space, and in a protective and safe and steady, consistent way that allows the divine feminine to embody her emotions, to embody her role, and allows for that. Doesn't, doesn't do the things to make her feel like she can't embody those. So it's really a space of protection, a space of holding space for the divine feminine to exist and not have to feel unprotected or unsafe. So that core energy is just that steadfastness, that protection, and that feeling of safety and security. And that's how you recognize that, when you just feel safe and you can just let go of the walls, let go of those, protections that we've put in place in society to protect ourselves. It just, when you can completely relax. And then you can focus on embodying all of those healthy emotions and the wisdom for the collective and the nurturing for the collective. So it's the masculine holding space for the divine feminine, and really stepping into the role as being a safe haven, a place of protection, a place of ease and acceptance. So
Yeah. So now this came to me when we are talking. I just only visualized, like a vision of the Mother Earth. Just when you came to me, like it's so green and beautiful flowers, and just only rising up and fresh air, and it's a five-dimensional world. And also reminds me, I don't know if you heard the movie. That's a kids movie in a chart. If somebody's watching, guys, yes, I'm recommending the movie Moana. So I don't know.
yeah.
So that's I would like to. That's really amazing. Every time I'm just only referring to any kind of the movie to the podcast, because that was the beauty. That was like a really dark, and that was a really green. That's beautiful, a healing energy.
Yeah. So yeah, the divine masculine is very powerful, but also when it embodies its divine feminine, that's where it holds a space. You still, they also feel their emotions, are in touch with their emotions, but the woman holds space with the emotions, and so that's it's the embodiment. So there's the masculine surrounding the divine feminine embodying the emotions, and so that divine masculine is like the encasement. So that's what I loved about Moana. It was the perfect illustration of that balance
Yeah.
of the and finally, meeting with the divine masculine. So
Yeah, that's true. That's true because yeah, that's a masculine energy. What every time what I'm just saying, like people can imagine the glass of the water. So the water is the feminine energy, and the structure of the glass is a masculine energy. So you can through inside, you get
mhm.
through it, as you can see in a different angle of your life. But the water will be inside. Even that will be just only boiling the water. The masculine energy needs to be a little bit bringing that feminine energy down. Saying, stay there. We are safe, protected, calm down. Yeah, so that's why, yeah, I would like to.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
that's with the Mother Gaia. Just back to your point about the Mother Gaia, that's if you want to really help connect yourself and ground yourself in divine feminine, you must first go into nature because Mother Gaia is the purest form of divine feminine. So gardening, anything that gets you back into nature gets you in touch with the feminine. So
yeah, that's why. How we can just only say how we can help Mother Gaia, Mother Earth, how we can help her to release that stuff. Because I know when we're releasing our stuff, we're helping her, but we are just only sending, and she's doing a lot of work. She's transmitting that energy. So how we can just only help her more?
um, so as a place from a star seed,
Yeah,
you can help by doing your meditations, helping to take and transmute that energy off. Mother Gaia right now is going through a bunch of releasing. We see it physically in the 3D,
yeah,
see it spiritually, we feel it spiritually. So really just helping to process those emotions. Just like when you transmute emotion, you feel it, and then you transmute it, take it, and then you visualize, putting white light on it and taking all of that darker energy and bathing it in white light until it's light and fluffy and then releasing it again. So you can help by doing those techniques in your meditations.
okay.
Um, it's called transmutation, and I have a post about it. Or you can just, even do things in your daily 3D life. You can do things from Mother Gaia, by keep connecting with her and taking that loving energy you have here and sharing it with her. That's why I mentioned gardening or going for a hike or, going swimming or anything like that. And just set those intentions. And setting that intention right there is doing a lot.
Yeah, and talking from your heart, that definitely talking from from the space of the love and peace. Yeah, every time. Yeah. Even I was planting my veg in my garden, and I was like talking to them because that's a consciousness. So even nowadays, or if you don't have a garden, just only when you're going outside, talk to the tree and just only that say that intention, or just only send that love and peace and that healing energy through them.
Yeah. I mean, the trees have an interconnected called the wood wide web. I mean, they're all connected over the entire planet. So all you have to do is, I mean, I hate to say you could go up and hug a tree. I mean, it sounds
Yeah,
silly. Really, you can, and they really will translate to the divine feminine. She will feel the love, and they will talk to each other throughout the network. I mean, it's amazing how nature is just so created in such a way that they can translate and pass these messages across the entire globe through these little connections of roots. And it's the same way. It's just like our nervous system in our bodies. If this is Mother Gaia's nervous system, and every part that you love on is going to be felt by the rest. So, yeah, talk to Mother Gaia, share your love in that way, and she'll feel it. She will.
yes, definitely. I had the experience, not just on the first time, but I would like to share with others as well. When every time when I go to the woods, people call it woods and forest, okay, whatever you're going to call, there's a lot of trees over there, and that was like a stream, and that was at the lake. And every time when I'm just only entering, I'm just only passing and by the trees, I'm feeling really protected. I'm feeling like I've got blanket on me. That's a really warm blanket. But maybe that would be another conversation, how we can start feeling, because a lot of people, a lot of stars is a little bit numb. They don't feel too much. So yeah, that's the feeling when you go inside to the nature. Oh my goodness, you're raising your frequency straight away. You don't have to do anything. Just only be there and just only feeling and just only, but maybe not really feeling if you don't, you really suppress your emotions, just only breathe. Okay. You're capable of that, because without it, you'll be not existing now.
Yeah, and another thing you could do that's super simple and doesn't take a lot of energy is just walk outside barefoot. Walk outside barefoot. Put your feet in the ground, in the sand, in the grass, whatever it is. Center yourself, ground yourself, do yoga. Even just doing yoga or doing meditation outside with your feet firmly planted on the ground, touching Mother God, just putting that energy and all that love. I mean, that's something you can do. You don't have to visualize anything. You don't have to imagine. You don't have to commune with light language. You can just sit and hold space with her and just exist and quiet your mind and do some breath work and just think about all the things you're grateful for her and pass that gratitude along to her. Even if you're just thanking her. I even thank the food that I eat. And some people may think it's silly, but I thank everything I eat because that is energy. We're all created of energy, and energy reacts in kind. So if you put negative energy out there, negative energy will respond. So put love out there, put gratitude out there. Just put all of those awesome, joyous emotions, feel the sand between your toes, feel the water on your ankles as you walk across the beach, and just embody those emotions of love and gratitude. And she will, with open arms, accept it.
No, that's how I felt like.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that the food what you're putting it inside you, that's become you, and that's how you behave, how you think, how etc. That's a lots of things. That's another podcast we can create. That's a more and more and more and more just in creating. That's a feminine energy, divine feminine energy, just carrying out. Beautifully said. Yeah, that's amazing. Is anything you would like to add about the divine feminine energy to the people who are listening as the stars with light workers?
Don't suppress your emotions. Don't suppress your emotions. It doesn't matter what the emotion is. It takes some time out of your day. I don't care if you have to go into a closet and scream. Do what you need to do to get it out, embody it, watch a sad movie and cry. And this goes for the men too, men and women both. Don't suppress your emotions. Feel them. Just feel them, release them, let them go, move on about your day.
Yeah.
If you continue to suppress those emotions, they store inside you, they store in your muscles, they will cause physical ailments, it will cause spiritual ailments. I mean, there's so many things that happen when you store those emotions, and you'll make your life so much easier if you just express it at the time that it happens. Just do it, get it out, and then it's fun, and then you're good. You can move on about your.
That's true. That's true. And you can go and straight away, you can feel much more happier. So every time, like as you mentioned about this forest wood, when I'm going there, I'm just only screaming, maybe not really kind of the screaming. When I don't see the people passing me by, I'm not really screaming, but I'm giving a lots of sounds from the root chakra. And just only that, a lot of vibration. The people just only staring at me. I'm just only going. I'm just keep going and keep going. I'm not bothering about the others at that moment, because I would like to heal it myself and fill it up my cup so I can serve them. And I can, by the way, I'm just only showing them my example, how I'm healing myself. So they can maybe be curious what she's doing, or maybe one day they're going to ask me, what are you doing? Or maybe I can do that. So yeah, be the example.
Yeah, awesome.
That's true. Is anything helped you to come over the challenge time in your life, or difficult time, or any mantra, any book you read you would like to share with others?
So I'm very creative. So I'm an artist. So I make music, I draw, I paint, I use digital art, I write, I even write poetry, I listen to music, I dance. I mean, anything that is creative is such an avenue for a release of emotions, but also it's grounding, but also it helps with that transmutation of your own emotions. So let's say you didn't let that emotion out and you suppressed it because you didn't want to go at work or something. You go home and you do something creative and you take that energy and push it out in that way. Then you can release it that way. So I do a lot of creative stuff, tons of great, or I play with pets. Pets are a great way to ground and to release some of that emotion. And that's why that's amazing. I have a Bengal. She's been up and down on my lap this entire interview.
Oh, wow.
And so she's very grounding for me, and she helps with just kind of any kind of issue, and of course
I know.
talk about things, even talk out loud, write it down, do what you got to do. I do all of those things. So
Yeah. I love the cat. I've got a cat. She's pregnant. My cat is pregnant. And she's really, this morning, she was really annoying. It was like I was, oh God, she was climbing over me and was like, I said, go away. And she said, no, I would like, I would like to have a hug. Can you pet? Oh God. I said, okay, fine. But anyway, she's pregnant. So I'm respecting her. She's in that mood, like a pregnancy woman. I don't know. She's crazy at the moment. Where do people can find you? Can you share your social media?
yeah, absolutely. So you can find me on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, what are the other, TikTok. All of them are all the same username. It's Meaningful Travels, Mina Full Travels. So it's my name, then full, and it's supposed to be a play on words like meaningful travels. So
Okay.
you could also go to my website, which is just www.meaningfultravels.com.
Okay. So anyway, definitely everything will be under this video. So everyone will be know where they have to go. So straight away. Thank you so much for coming here and thank you for accepting my invitation.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. I love this. This is so great, and what a pleasant experience. I love this. It's great.
Yeah, thank you so much. If anyone hearing us and would like to know anything more about the Stasi or anything more about another planet or anything, they're curious and they're really seeking that information or they would like to master the emotion. I don't know. That's the infinitive number of the creation, the idea and the intention they had. Just leave the comments below and maybe we can go and create another podcast. Who knows?
So great.
Thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank